first started as a trader, I was solely focused on making money. It wasn't until I just focused on improving my skill set that the profits came. So I trusted the process, I trusted my setups, and then the profits came. When I was money chasing, that was the biggest mistake that I could possibly make. And if you're a beginner or someone who is struggling to find consistent gains, maybe you're falling into the same trap that I was. So I want to go over my process and my setup. And of course, there's going to be some losses. Like, no one's perfect in trading. It's how do you deal with those losses? Are you using risk management? If you're not, and you're losing big, like maybe you make profits for a week straight, you go on a really good hot streak, or even not even just 5 days, maybe you go on a couple weeks, a couple months, and then all of a sudden one single day wipes out your entire account. Like, I've been there, and it was the day that I stopped following my rules, the day that I was hunting money, and I was like, oh, it'll be fine, it'll just come back. And it was a huge, huge mistake. And it was something that I learned, and I had to accept the fact. So when you trust the process, profits will come, because even if you're following your setup and it doesn't execute exactly how you want, because there are days when it doesn't do what you think, but majority of the time, if you keep following your setup and you're risking 2 to 1, or if you're risking 1 to 1, like, over time, like, your wins are going to offset the losses that come, right? And so I'm going to walk you through my strategy and how I focus on my process to get profit. And I'm going to show you the back side of my trade account, and you can see that, yeah, I have losses, and everybody has losses. And so you're not going to be perfect. So let's walk through my setup and my process for how I find trades. And then I'm going to show you a quick little video that I made from this past week. And it's me trusting my process, it's me using stop losses, it's me being able to profit really nice from using my setup. So let's go into what my setup was. And what we were looking for on this specific trade was for this level to actually fail. So in my setup, I had, let me show you the video now. Just so you can use this as reference, this is the area that we were looking for the shorts, okay? Maybe you can see if you can see that. So we have up here this 198 level, and then we have our 82 level about right here, okay? So this is sped up a little bit. So I had two trades. So the first one was right here, actually. So you can see we shorted down to about 247 is when we got out. So we take our first profit there, and then I move my stop loss into profit here at 69, and it does get hit, okay? So you're gonna see this gets hit. And then what happens, and this is why I put my stop loss in profit, and it's part of my process, right? So there are times where the market will reverse, right? And maybe this is just liquidity, right? Like, it looks like this is just liquidity, okay? Like, okay, it came down below this level, we did, have some closes, but then it breaks up. Now it's looking like it's gonna go to the upside. Well, what it was doing was just sucking people in, like, okay, we're gonna go short, psych, reverse long. Now it's okay, we're gonna go long, like, it's about to break these key levels, right? And so you see it come up here, and then what happens? Well, it closes once, and then boom, has a big break back below this EMA, back below this key level, and it goes short, and it comes back into this support zone that's on the daily time frame, and then retracement back again, and then it breaks through even further through our key level. And so this is what happens, right? So we see, okay, now it's breaking this level, so I get short. This is sped up, right? But I'm talking through risk to reward ratio of 1 to 1 means $500. That's 25 points, because I only risk 25 points on a single contract in the NQ. This would be a 2-to-1, so risking $500 for 1,000. So I have my stop loss here at $500. This was in my live trade school, so this video is from us live trading and me walking through this entire process. And so then we watch this, right? So we see that it is coming down, and then we were talking about the 3-to-1 there, but I ended up going with 2-to-1. And so then what happens is, again, we're trusting the process here. We're seeing it's coming down, and then I'm like, okay, well, I see that it is now in profit, and I do not want to give that back, right? Sure, could we just try and get this back down to this level? Yeah, absolutely. And it actually does, almost to the point, which is crazy, and then it bounces up. But what I do is I ratchet my stop loss down, so I move my take profit, or excuse me, my stop loss into profit. So now it's a take profit, right? Now I'm guaranteeing myself at least 10 points, which is 12 points, which is about $200. And I'm like, okay, well, that's great, but I don't know if I want to give back an additional $500 of what I've made. So I ratchet my stop loss down, move it more into profit, actually move it to my 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So I can let it run and get $1,000 or a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio, or I can lock in $500, right? Which I'm actually doing both. And what happens is it comes right to our take profit at 31 here. And then this was a bit of support, right? Obviously, and we get a big retest of this, and then boom, comes back down. So that's how I use my process to make money, right? Now I'm not, obviously, yeah, to say I'm not focused on money is not true, because a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio means you're taking profit, you're making money. But I'm focused on what I'm looking at the chart. Like, okay, is it going to fail here? Great. Okay, is it going to fail? Is it going to close below this and move down? Okay, great. Now from there, I'm okay if I only make $500. Like, sure, would I want to make $1,000 on this? Yeah, absolutely. But if that's not what the market's going to give me, like, I can't force the market to do that. So that's why I protect my profit. I move my stop loss down, so I'm still making $500. And on this other trade, you know, I think it was like $3,000, or maybe even a little bit less, because I think it ended up being $1,000, $1,000 on one contract, and then about another $2,000. Anyway, so I'm okay with only taking $500, but I'm locking in my profit, so my green trade does not go against me. I don't want a green trade going into a red trade, and that's part of my process. And the reason I trade like in the beginning, I was trading 3 contracts, which is fine, but I also love to only trade 1 contract because I've already made my profit, right? So I've already made my profit on my 3 contracts, and now I'm like, okay, even if it goes against me, I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose that $3,000, right? So I'm going to pull up some notes here. So this is what I like. This is actually what I like to do. Okay, so say I have three contracts on, right? And I'm risking $500, so that is 25 points per contract, right? If you do a 1-to-1 risk to reward, that's the same thing. $500. If we do 2-to-1, $1,000 or 50 points. Okay, 50 points. Now, since we'll just use a round number that I made $3,000. Okay, So now I have $3,000. If I do the same thing, if I do 3 contracts at $500 each, then I would have 25 points, and it would be about $1,500, right? So I would be losing. If I hit my stop loss, then I would essentially lose 50% of that, right? Now, if I only go to 1 contract, because I'm already in profit, if I have 1 contract, the most I'm going to lose is $500. So if I make my $3,000, like on my first trade, I will scale down, okay? Because I don't want to risk half of my profit for the day. I am willing to risk $500 to make another $1,000, right? And what is exactly what happened here. So the process is, yeah, make your money, and you can either log out of your accounts, shut your laptop down, and don't trade for the rest of the day. Because what I've seen, and if you're a beginner and you don't trust your process and you don't trust your rules and you trade 10 times, the odds of you losing go up a lot higher than if you get 1 trade and you make money and then you don't trade. Okay, well, you're 100%, right? You're not going to lose that money if you don't trade. And so I like to get in, get out, take my profit, and then be done. And this was, again, the trade school, so I was showing people how to use the respect of these different levels. So we did get into another trade, and sure, there were some stop losses hit, which actually I still need to show you. And so this is what I like to do. I like to scale down so that I'm protecting my profit. And now the most I can lose is $500, and I will profit for the day. I will profit $2,500 for the day, which is awesome. Like, who's making $2,500 in less than 30 minutes of work? Like, that's insane. So that's what I like to do for my process to make consistent gains, to lock in profit. And sure, it's not sexy, right? But like, that's the process. Like, if I lose a couple times, like, I'm done, and then I've lost $1,000 on the day, which something like a day like this happens, you're able to make it back. Like, trade so that you can trade again, right? The next day, you want to be able to live to the next day, right? So if you keep trading and you blow your account, well, then you can't trade the next day, right? Or if you are in a funded account, you blow your account, like, you're not going to trade in a funded account, you're going to trade in a test account. And to constantly cycle through test accounts would be obnoxious. And so because then you're never going to make any money, right? And so I love to use this. Like, if you are going to trade, don't scale up, like, actually scale down. Like, that should be in your plan of scaling your contracts down so that you're protecting your profit. You want to protect your profit as much as possible. Now, I said I was going to show you the back end of like the losses, so let me show you that. You can see I took a little bit more trades than I normally take, and I did have an average losing trade. I had my best trade, and then I had my worst trade, so I did take a loss. So, part of the game, right? Like, you do have some losses, and okay, so this is back end, right? This is for the day, and I did lose $279, so I had a couple more losses. Ultimately, I ended the day up, right? But I had 7 losing trades contracts to 21. So I had some losses and I had some wins. So that's just kind of part of the game, right? Like, no one's going to be perfect. I had some stop losses hit, but I kept going and I just trusted my process. And if I ended up with an L on the day, so be it. So that's how I use my process to trust my setups and to take profit, to use a stop loss in profit so that I'm not giving away my trades and my profit. So feel free to subscribe to the channel, and we'll produce more educational content like this so that you can become a better trader.